You're watching Inside Story. I'm Ray Suarez, frontrunner and no-show this time on the program. On the eve of his first ever test as a political candidate, Donald Trump has decided not to participate in the last televised debate in Iowa. Crazy, or crazy like a fox? And if you're standing at one of the other podiums tonight in Des Moines, how do you capitalize on the fact that the guy who's grabbed more than his share of the attention won't be around? O'Brien Murray, Hadley Manning, and John Feary are with me. Complete that point, John. You said first that you weren't sure it was a good idea because frontrunners now won't feel compelled to show up. What did you mean like that?
Well, look at this. We have a fractured political party. We also have a fractured media organizations here where if CNN decides to pick up this Trump rally, you know, for any frontrunner from that time forward, why would any frontrunner want to go on a debate this close to a caucus? They'll have their own event. I think it's really, really a dangerous precedent. I can see that both Fox and CNN will try to, you know, do this to each other because they're so competitive. But it really is hurting the media's ability to answer the questions and get some sort of idea of deciding who's going to be the nominee. I think it's interesting for the media to do this. I think it's a big mistake, and it gives Trump so much more power.
Go ahead, O'Brien.
The only mistake is here for Donald Trump if it doesn't work for him. I think the media's job is to cover the story, and the story right now is Trump breaking off. He's dominated the news for the past 24 hours, and tonight we'll find out how many viewers watch him live versus watch the debate, and that's going to be the big question going forward. I think one thing was said earlier too. I think the Republican Party's in great shape right now. One of the challenges we've had with these debates is we had so many fantastic candidates, whether they're in the center of the party, the right of the party, the establishment or the anti-establishment, and we have a crowded stage. The Democrats can barely fill their podiums at this point, and that's one reason why they've been able to have a dialogue on the issues. As we get through this process, the Republican nominee or the last two or three will have fantastic debates where they'll get some great detail on these issues going forward. But at this point, I think everything is terrific for the party, and the media is going to do its job. And also, the last part about this is, you mentioned the debates from the last cycle. That was 4 years ago. The media has changed. Twitter's changed. Social media has changed. And 4 years from now, it's going to be very different again. So we can't fight the next war, or the current war, with last war's technology and the last war's actions and opportunities.
Hadley Manning, everything is come down on this. Party. Does this have the potential for sort of unraveling debates as a campaign institution, or as O'Brien suggests, strengthen them, but just later in the cycle?
Well, you know, no candidate in history has ever been in a better position to skip out on a debate or debate setting than Donald Trump. First of all, he's a celebrity. He came into this race with a high level of name recognition. He's also very effectively engaged, as O'Brien mentioned, on social media through Twitter and through other avenues to connect with voters directly. And that has not been a tool available to candidates in history or even in the recent past. And this year we've seen on the Republican side we're going to have as many as a dozen debates. So missing out on one debate doesn't mean that voters have lost the chance to get to know this candidate. They know exactly what this candidate stands for. They know his personality. And in fact, like every publicity stunt that Donald Trump has pulled, this particular stunt in drawing out of tonight's debate on Fox News is going to work two ways. It's a double-edged sword. Some people will find it off-putting that he refuses to engage and that he blames Megyn Kelly, of all people, for this. And on the other hand, some people will say, look, this is another instance where Trump is sticking it to the man. He's anti-establishment, even to the point of being against the traditional process by which we choose our candidates. So this is going to work two ways for Donald Trump, just like everything else he's said or done.
Hadley, you brought up Megyn Kelly. O'Brien, you brought up Twitter. Donald Trump is never one to leave well enough alone, it seems, when he's fighting somebody. Today, the candidate tweeted out a picture of Megyn Kelly from a photo spread she did for GQ magazine, and said that, well, everyone's offended because I hinted that Megyn Kelly was a bimbo, but this is how she voluntarily poses in the pages of GQ, in a somewhat revealing short skirt and a strap coming off a shoulder and a come-hither look and all of that. I can't imagine John Anderson tweeting out this photo, or Ronald Reagan tweeting out this photo, or Senator Baker tweeting out this photo. Go ahead, O'Brien.
Well, I think part of it, don't forget, I believe that was a retweet, which meant it didn't originate from him. He saw it and said, hey, this is what my followers are thinking. I think the other thing that's very important here is how
What
many
difference does
interviews
it make
has Donald
whether it
Trump done?
originated with him or not?
But
He tweeted it out
well,
from his own
because-
account.
I agree, but with the fact he tweeted from his own account. But what I'm getting at is this. He has been more accessible and gone through more interviews in the gauntlet of today's media than Hillary Clinton has or will during this entire campaign. He has been on more Sunday talk shows. He's done the morning programs during the week. Hillary's hidden from the media at all steps along the way. So because he's not in the debate tonight is one thing. And he retweets something. He's interacting with his social media. That's what one of his followers thought. Donald said, hey, what do you think about it? So be it. I'm not defending Donald. I'm just expressing that we're at a different day and age.
Go ahead,
Frank
John.
Luntz has said...
The fascinating thing about Trump is how he has dominated the media by being always intriguing, always interesting, oftentimes completely inappropriate, in a way that captivates his followers and captivates the media. So he's dominated this media. Even this stunt of pulling out this debate, that's all anyone's talking about. So if you're a Jeb Bush or John Kasich and you're trying to get some oxygen somewhere, I mean, this just snuffs it out. So from that perspective, he's been brilliant. Has he been inappropriate? Is retweeting that inappropriate? Absolutely. Is it sexist to call Megyn Kelly a bimbo as you're avoiding her in debate? Absolutely. But that's Donald Trump, and the thing that's most frustrating for people like me is his voters love it. And it's very, very strange.
Are candidates sold on the value of these forums? Does the front runner checking out before primary season even gets down to voting carry the potential to unravel the debate system? Front runner and no show. Stay with us. It's Inside Story.